Welcome to day 8 in PHP and 15 days guaranteed training course. Today we are going to make form submission a little more secure, as well as we'll talk about some of really important internal functions you must really know about. So here is what we are going to learn today. Preg match, include and require, include underscore once and require underscore once, and date handling. Sometimes we are in need to search something from some data, no matter what type of data it is. This search can be for any purpose like security reason, want to find keywords, want to find some words to replace, etc. So preg match internal function is another built-in PHP function which enables us to do such kind of searches. It's kind of a search engine. We define a pattern in compliance with preg match rules and it searches the input data according to the defined pattern. If pattern matches within the data, it returns true, otherwise false. We have used some of internal functions on data we received from client side. Now we want to check the pattern and characteristics of the data. If the form data comply with our required pattern and within range of allowed characters, it will be authenticated, otherwise rejected. Let's try some of these patterns. You can find patterns on the internet easily. It's better to find one and use which suits your requirement. If you want to make the pattern on your own, it's a different subject. Now let's use some of the patterns which are used very often. First of all, let's define a variable and assume this is the input we received from client side, and for the username or name where we just allowed alphabets and whole numbers only. $name equals empty. Now call the internal function preg_match, and between parentheses it takes at least two arguments. First one is pattern, keep it empty for the moment, and second is the data we want to check and match. Let's put variable name here. The pattern here will be checked throughout the input data. We'll provide this function. If the pattern is matched within the string given, it will return true, otherwise false. Let's paste in the pattern. Here we go. This pattern is going to validate our string for small case letters from A to Z, capital letters A to Z, and 0 to 9 whole numbers. If the preg_match finds other than defined case characters, it will return false. So for now, let's put this in a conditional statement, that is, if preg_match finds a match and returns true, then echo matched. Otherwise, sorry, it doesn't match. Now let's check what we get in our browser. Go to the page by typing the URL in address bar and hit enter, and here we find the message matched. It means the data we supplied matches the pattern without any problem. Change the value of the variable name to AB and check this out, and same result, matched. Now let's try to put ampersand sign in our supplied data. Check for the output in the browser and you see it doesn't match. The reason is only ampersand doesn't fall within the allowed characters range. Let's test for another sign, and this time again it doesn't match. So as long as data doesn't match with the allowed character range or our pattern, our preg_match will supply false. Now we can check it for all character ranges. Let's put A, B, C, D, 3, 4, and as names do not contain numbers, so let's just erase numeric or whole number from allowed pattern from here, and let's go back to the browser. Again, you see it doesn't match as we changed the range. This is how we bound our users to use only the letters or numbers we allow. Now let's move further and validate email addresses. For this purpose, PHP provides a very good internal function filter_var. Let's create a variable email first and just keep it empty for now. Let's use the internal function filter_var. This function takes two arguments. First one is data, and second one the type of filtration. Let's put email here and tell it the filter option that validate email. Now let's put a dummy email address here, Mike at lizzygag.com, and you can see its valid email address. Let's just echo this. This function returns the data if it's valid, otherwise returns false. Here we go. The email address is shown. It means it's valid email address. Now just change the @ of the email with hash and make it invalid. Go back to the browser and you can see no output means it returned false. Now try to supply two @ in email address, which is again invalid. Check this out in browser one more time and you can see no output. So this is how we can easily validate user-defined email addresses. Now let's move a little further and use Preg_match again. Validate URLs supplied by users. Define a variable URL and keep it empty for now. Now let's call the Preg_match function and keep empty the pattern. That we'll just paste in a moment and supply the second argument, that is our variable, which will store incoming URLs. Now let's paste the pattern here, which is going to validate any type of URL. Now let's enclose it in a conditional statement as we did before, and if it matches, echo URL matches. Otherwise, echo sorry, URL doesn't match. Let's run this in our browser, and here you can see URL doesn't match as we did not supply any URL. Now let's go back and supply URL. This URL is really a valid URL and it must be validated if our pattern is fine. So let's check this out and you can see it's valid. Let's put a BR tag between messages to make these more readable. Now if we remove http:// and check it for its validation, and you can see it doesn't match. It means our users need to supply http:// or we can append it after getting URL from users. Let's put http back in place and append with www. And check this out and it matches. Now if we put any character within URL which makes it invalid, our Preg_match will find it out. Let's try a couple of those and you can see each time we'll get invalid message. This is the way we can make our site more hackers proof and secure. So each time you get data from user side, client side, you must validate it properly.